Good morning, everybody. How are y'all today? I am preparing dinner early, so I don't have to do it later. So y'all are in the kitchen with me again. But I wanted to come on because I just had a conversation with somebody um, about fat shaming. Okay. Now, I have so so one of my sons is very quite large for his age. Okay, and but he's healthy. Okay, he's a very healthy boy, and you know but he's got his father's genes. Okay. So but what I was telling the person that I was talking to was, so what I do, and this is very different from what I did before. What I do is I expose myself and my kids to like different foods, things we've never heard of before. Like we'll go to Wegmans or some other these other grocery stores, and I'll get things that I've never gotten before and would never even think to get. And they're coming out with so many different things now, right? Like they have those tortillas that are made of just cheese, you know, um, a bunch of stuff like that. So the other day when we were doing our lesson, we were part of the lesson. There was a part about bison in there. And so I asked my boys, I said, what is bison? Like, what's another word for bison? And they couldn't figure it out. So they saw the picture of the bison. So I was like, it's buffalo. That's also what we call bison. So, and I said, have you all ever tried like a buffalo burger? And I apologize for any of my vegan friends listening to this. They were like, no. So I said, okay, mommy's going to buy some bison, and we're going to try it. So we did. I bought it a couple days ago, and they had bison burgers instead of ground beef, which is what we normally use. And I was telling my friend, I was like, yeah, my son, he really, really liked it. He said, Mom, let's get this instead of ground beef from now on. And bison is, it's leaner, typically than ground beef and all that. So I was like, I'm glad that he sees, that other things can be just as delicious as, things that you're eating right now, which is what the goal is, right? For me to introduce these new things into their diets so that they can see for themselves, oh, you know what? Like my other son did, I really do like cauliflower crust pizza. He really enjoyed it. He's like, I couldn't tell that much of a difference, but it was really good. And that's the point, right? The point is to have my kids, and not just with food, but to expose them to various things so that they can create their own stories about it. And because that's what's going to help them develop the habit. It's not going to be me making them do something that's going to help them develop the habit. And I told him also, I said, we are so good at telling people to do what we know we don't even do. You know, we're so good at that. We're like experts at that. And, so he's like, yeah, well, you got to tell him, you got to control his food and you got to do all that. And I said, listen, dude, if y'all haven't seen 600-Pound Life, that show, almost every parent in that show did everything they could that they thought they knew to do to make their children healthier, or to make their children skinnier. I'm not going to even say healthier, right? Because health is more than physical. So not only did the child get bigger, but now they have emotional issues. Now they have mental health issues, because they've been made by the people, by their parents and people close to them, you know, made to feel like shit. Okay. And you're gonna be shit until you can get down to this size. You know. And if you can't make it down to this size, then you're just gonna be, be shit. So you may as well feel like shit because that's what you are. You know. And I told him, I said, I refuse. I refuse. Because let me tell you what that is. What happens is, and I talked about this on my parenting video, we feel, those of us who have children who may be um, outside the norm, okay, when it comes to weight and the size charts that doctors have and that, that we follow. When it comes to that, or when it comes to having children who prefer a same-sex partner, okay, or when it comes to having children who do anything that we feel is outside the norm. Now it's not about the child. It's really, it's never about the child, but now it's really not about the child, okay? It's about us. I recognize, okay, how I feel when I go out with my son in front of other people. Okay. I recognized that a long time ago. When I first started paying attention, I recognized it. It was not about him. It was about me and what people were thinking of me when they looked at him, because now I can read everybody's mind. Okay. I know what they're saying about him, what they're feeling about him, you know, which means, okay, now I'm not a good mom. Now I don't know how to raise kids. Now I don't care about my kids. Now that's what it is. That's what it is. So in order for them not to think that about me, that means I have to change him. Do you understand? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Totally not doing it. I don't give a damn. Okay. I don't give a damn. And it's not about, because we can make that argument like he tried to make. Oh, it's about, being healthy. And I'm like, no, no, that's not what it's about. Because you're healthy. If somebody just looks at you and just looks at you, don't talk to you, nothing, you look healthy. You're tall, you have muscle, you exercise a lot, you do all that stuff. But because I know you, and I know that health is more than physical, I know you're miserable. Okay. I know this. I know you're miserable because how can you not be when you don't know who you are? And I'm not talking about that from a non-dual. Forget all that shit. How can you not be when you don't know who you are? You know, how can you be? You have no idea who you are. So now what do you have to do? You got to depend on what other people say about you to know that. Okay. You have to depend on their opinion. You have to depend on their judgment. And you are miserable MF right now. Miserable. Miserable. Because you can't make a move that you want to make because somebody's going to get mad. So now you got to back up. You can't say what you want to say because these people are going to judge you as this. You can't do what you want to do because they're going to take this away. So now you're living your life like a damn paint by numbers picture. Okay? Because you don't know what the color is. So you got to rely on somebody else to put that there. I'm not doing that. Okay. I used to do that to myself, and I know whereof I speak because I did it. Okay. I did not trust Cheryl. What the hell does Cheryl know? How is Cheryl going to tell Cheryl who Cheryl is? She don't know shit. So I got to rely on other people who know more than I do to tell me who I am. And if they tell me that I'm fat and being fat means you're shitty, then guess what? I got to believe it because I don't know. I said, dude, you better get the hell up out of here with all that. I I refuse to participate in the fat shaming of my child, of myself, of people out in public who I refuse. I absolutely refuse. Because if I don't know who I am, how in the hell? This is one plus one is two. This ain't non-duality. This ain't spirituality. This ain't none of that. If I don't know who I am, how am I going to tell you? I, you know, come on. Let's tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay. Can we do that? Can we do that? So I don't care. And I've even told my kids this. I told them, I said, listen, no, I didn't, but I told my son, I said, listen, the things that I did when it comes to you and what you eat and, what you shouldn't eat and the comments and all that, that came from mommy feeling less than. It had nothing to do with you. Nothing. It had to do with me feeling like I was going to be judged because of what other people think, about folks who fall outside societal norms. Okay. If like one of my older kids, you would say that they are, they fall into what's normal. Okay. When it comes to the physical, what they look like. But, if one of them was gay or lesbian, especially when I was religious, child, I would have done everything because, again, it's about your kids. You feel like they're a mirror, like they reflect you. And if they're on drugs or if they're gay or if they're overweight or a criminal, or then that means you don't know what the hell you're doing. That means you're a terrible parent and you don't know how to raise kids. And you know what I'm saying? So to avoid that, we just totally screw up the mental health. We help to screw up the mental health of our kids, because we don't want to be embarrassed. I'm not doing that shit. I'm not doing that. I refuse. I want, and the first step in not doing that is being honest with me and with my boy. So he can remind me, Mom, remember when you said that when you do this kind of stuff, you're feeling some type of way about, okay, yeah, you know what, you're right. I am. Like we went out, this person looked at you and I felt, something that, something that I told my friend, what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about training. That's what it was. Hey, Naomi. We were talking about training. And I said, I said, when people are learning something, like because we teach adults in the classroom, right? Young adults, adults. And the way that we learn in this country, education is very much like spoon fed. Okay, this is what you need to know, and this is all you need to know, and I go on about your business. Okay. Well, I said that's not the way learning works. It doesn't work like that. What you eat does not make me shit. Okay. And that's the way we feel like what somebody else eats, it gets metabolized by our bodies. No. It doesn't work like that. The person has to choose to do to learn what they want to learn on their own. I don't care how smart you are, how many profound words you say. I could be on this YouTube for 12 hours talking about there's nobody here and that ain't gonna mean nothing. Okay. I could tell you for 2 weeks what an orange tastes like, but you will never know until you eat one. Okay. You won't know. That's the case with everything. That's why I introduce, because it's about learning, right? It's about learning. And that's why I introduce new things to my boys, and to me too. because we have our go-to. We have our go-to drink, our go-to snack, our go-to, and we kind of don't go outside those boundaries. I bought him, what did I get in here the other day? Some cauliflower chips. Okay. Some cauliflower chips. And I'm like, oh my God. But they were good. They were really good. So I just like my children do, like we all just need to be exposed, to different things, exposed to different things, and then be allowed to choose, be allowed to create our own stories about things. Okay, because that's what's gonna change my behavior. When I can create my own story about why I want to do this thing. Okay, if I create a story about, I'm a successful entrepreneur, and successful entrepreneurs, they eat cauliflower chips. That's what successful entrepreneur. And I create a whole thing around. That's gonna get me. Won't that get me to maintain the behavior? You know, Successful entrepreneurs don't smoke. They don't do that. I'd never see Jeff Bezos or Oprah Winfrey, or I've never seen them people with a cigarette. Successful entrepreneurs don't do that, you know. And I'm in a story where the main character is a successful entrepreneur, and that's me. I don't smoke. Do you know what I'm saying? So to give them, to expose them to different things that will allow them to create their own stories about it, depending on how they define themselves versus relying on somebody else to say, this is how you should be. You shouldn't be like this. Do you know what I mean? I didn't get that growing up. And I wasn't around a lot of people who are saying the kinds of things I'm saying right now. Not that what I'm saying is better. It's different. It's different than what I heard, when I was smaller. It's different than what my friend is talking about. Okay. Because he's preaching like the script has just been handed down and he's reading that script. Okay. Now I'm trying to tell him you ain't got to read that script. So he could stop being miserable. Okay. Exercising every day and all this stuff, but afraid to make a decision. You know what I mean? We had a whole lesson about health, you know, and how, you know, health is nowhere near just about the body. Nowhere near it. There's this channel, what is it called? What is it called? Born Different, I think it's called. Born Different, something like that. But you have people on there, this one, I mean, you got to look at the people on there are what you would call outside the norm. Okay. But they don't see themselves like that. Some of them don't, right? I mean, they're very, well, let me see. This one lady, she had, her foot was where our knees typically are. She had a foot there. Okay. She was like taking ballet and, all this stuff. You know what I mean? That's a very inspirational channel. And now that I'm talking about it, I think I'm going to have my boys look at one of those videos as one of their lessons, because I like, if I leave a legacy at all, the legacy is going to be, you can choose who you want to be. You don't have to rely on your mama, your daddy, your grandma, your older sister, your best friend, the IRS, the state. You ain't got to rely on none of your credit report, your credit score. You ain't got to rely on none of that to tell you who you are. None of it. Unless that's the story you want to tell. You can tell that story absolutely 100%, but you don't have to. And the other one can be just as true as the credit score and what your mama said and what your daddy said, It can be just as true. All right, let me go. Y'all know I can't do two things at one time. I've been trying to season this chicken since I got since I got on here. Oh, girl. Thank you for being here, Naomi. I so appreciate you. I do. All right. I'm going to see y'all back here later. Okay. Bye bye.